time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? It's your boy Dave from the 408 coming to you all the way from my new home in Sin City, Las Vegas for another Monday night edition of the Shoe Shine. And no, I didn't publicize this anywhere, Drew. I am so sorry. I didn't even tweet it. I think I just tweeted it out. Shout out to anybody who will be joining us. I see my homegirl, Michelle Monroe. Drew, yeah, I got to show you this pic. I'm going to be showing everybody a pic once the people come up in the room. But shout out to my co-host all the way from the city of brotherly love, Philly Irish, Drew Evo. ¿Qué pasa?
What's up, Dave? I'm cold as hell.
You're cold as hell. And people are losing their marbles out in the West Coast with this heat wave. Drew, let me just say, there was a lot of hands being thrown this weekend in the city of Las Vegas, but there was also a lot of microphones, Drew. I'm not sure if you saw Cardi B go off the chain tossing microphones at anybody and everybody who came to see her perform. She said this was the sickest heat she ever felt. She never felt heat like this, Drew. And I guess she got slippery hands because she was just tossing microphones at anybody who was talking. I guess she told people that Nana was a little bit hot or something, so that she asked the audience to cool her down with some water. You know what I'm saying? At Dre's. And well, I guess some girls got her hair wet, and so she just started tossing microphones. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna be tossing my microphone here. We're going to talk about this exciting weekend, Drew. I'm still recovering, man. That's how old I am. Shout out to Michelle Monroe, Sonteo Media, Ruli Ramundo, LA Shadow 8. Thank you. I haven't seen you in a minute. Nice to see you in here, homeboy. It was a very exciting weekend in the city of Sin, Las Vegas. But you know what, Drew? I'm a little bit salty about all the so-called YouTube friends we have that did not hit me up that we're here for the Terrence Crawford. Oh, I got a couple DMs. Yeah, we're going to kick it, blah, blah, blah. But in the end, your boy ended up kicking it with Me Truck Mike, who some of you guys may recognize in the, that's who I hung out with on Friday night. And shout out to Fonzie 6192 from San Diego. Fonzie and Carol, I saw them. They was at the fight on Friday night at the Palms Casino, the top ranked card featuring, of course, headlining Sinisa Superbad Estrada in a very close fight. Drew, I don't even know. I wasn't even paying attention. There was so much shit going on in the stands where I was at that I was barely paying attention, to be honest.
I tell you the truth, I didn't see it close. I had it like fucking 7-3.
7-3. What was I watching? Every time I was watching the main event, I thought that the Argentinian girl was giving her fits. I actually, in my head, I was barely scoring it, but I thought it was pretty close, maybe 6-4. But thank you. I didn't get to watch it again.
I had a 7-3. I just, it was a good fight for her and everything, man. But I just, I thought she won 7-3. Like she's good. She looked good in that fight. It was a good fight for her to get rounds in and everything. She did give her a little bit of trouble, but it was a good test for her and everything. Now you just gotta see what can you do for her next. Like Sparza, I don't think you're gonna get Maria Sparza.
Marlena Sparza? Right.
But because I think Golden Boy is feeling salty about her leaving and everything. Because I think, here's the thing. I always thought she left Golden Boy is because they value Sparza more than her. But she was the better fighter and she won the fight. And she beat Sparza, I think. So, I really look at it like they don't want to mess Sparza up. She didn't even look good in her last fight, Sparza. She didn't look good in the last couple fights. She's just boring to me.
Right. I'm talking about, we started the show off, we were talking about Friday night, of course, the Sinisa versus Judica, the Argentinian former champion. On the undercard was Xavier Martinez, a guy from Sacramento who moved from SAC to join TMT, and he's had a couple of rough fights, and he ended up getting stopped. But I did want to mention, shout out to D Styles, who's here. If you're still listening, D Styles, thank you, man. I wanted to let you know, I ran into Roberto Diaz, the former Golden Boy matchmaker, in the lobby And I said, hey, I was recently on a panel with you on the round table. And he was like, oh, yeah. So that was awesome, running into Roberto Diaz and his wife in the lobby. And that's why I love going to these things and meeting industry people. It's awesome. So shout out to D-Style on the round table. Of course, D-Style here on YouTube. I did want to show this while you guys are here, in case my homegirl, Michelle Monroe, is here. Saturday night, as soon as the fight was over, I'm not going to turn down an opportunity to go dancing with the ladies, man. Your boy hit up the club. It wasn't even a club, man. It was actually like, some of you guys know, not everybody knows, but I spent the majority of my 20s and late teens in the Bay Area and city of San Francisco.
Hey, who's the blondie in the camouflage?
And, well, she's a famous YouTuber, TikToker, as all the girls here are. Drew, they're all much more famous.
I'll make them more famous.
Much more famous than me, to be honest. You know, I'm nothing. I'm just, hey, I'm going along for the ride. You know what I'm saying? And
make them more famous.
Now you made me lose my train of thought. You know? Oh, that's right. Man. That's right. I was saying, yeah. Well, you know, for those that don't know, I spent the majority of my 20s working in the clubs in the Bay Area, and house music was my thing. I spent years producing house music under, you know, a pseudonym name, my DJ name and whatnot. And, you know, I had to give that up, and get a grown man job. But as soon as my homegirl, Michelle, and her friend Cassie were so nice to invite us to a VIP exclusive event, and to sit, I'm all over that, man. And I'm going to actually try to release a video this week of the shenanigans between Friday and Saturday night. What I did capture, I will make sure that I try to post that. So make sure you guys watch that, because it was kind of sexy, to be honest. I'm gonna be real with you guys, man. It's Las Vegas, huh?
I'm disappointed in Dave, who's hanging out with Snow Bunny.
Oh, I got some more pictures too from Friday, but I don't think I have authorization to show what happened on Friday night, man. I'm still waiting to hear, man. There was a lot more that went on Friday night. Okay, well, let's get back to the fights. Thank you guys for putting up with that there. All right. Well, I mentioned Xavier Martinez. I mentioned the Top Rank card. To be honest, Drew, I was barely in the moment. As you pointed out, Yokasta Valley made quite the stir at that event. She's with Golden Boy, Drew, and she showed up wearing, I think Fonzie, shout out to Fonzie, his nephew was there, and he instantly said, who's that hot chick? His nephew had the hots for her. And she wants to fight Sinisa Estrada next. She's the other person with the other two belts. So we may have an undisputed championship between Yokasta Valley, but she had some nasty. I very much enjoyed what she had to say afterwards, Drew, because she said some pretty funny shit. She had the crowd going. She said, I'm a champion. I fill stadiums, not theaters. And I have to tell you, Drew, the Palms Theater is beautiful. It's freaking nice. It's an amazing venue for UFC and boxing events. But she was straight up in her high heels, right there in her little platform stilettos, capping on Sinisa, saying, I fill up stadiums in Costa Rica, and you fill up these tiny little theaters. But you know what? I'd like to see Yokasta Valley sell out that Palms Theater, okay? I don't know about these rinky-dinky Costa Rica stadiums, soccer stadiums at $5 a ticket. You know what I'm saying? That's a fight I'm eager to see. Are they going to is this fight going to happen, Drew?
Probably not, because Gore's already gives you a hint. She's pricing herself out and everything. Hey, don't get me wrong. You can cap at me all you want, as long as I'm getting something out of it. But tell you the truth, I never heard of her until that night and everything. So she ain't signing out no fucking stadium and everything. Like, she's the B side, and like on some real talk, I don't see the fight happening. But I like to see it for Sinise to go and dispute it, but I doubt it's gonna happen. I think the fight for Sinise is probably gonna be Maria Esparza. Yeah. We get that? Probably not.
Well, I see some great podcasters right here in the room. D-Style, I mentioned him. Shout out to Chicano Prophet. If you guys want to join in on the conversation, 702-710-3627. D-Style says, no chicks be selling stadiums. And then Chicano Prophet says, I refuse to watch women's boxing until they get equal pay. Well, that is so nice of you. That is so nice of you. I paid all $50 a seat to sing practically ringside to see Sinisa Estrada. $50 a seat. I'll tell you, that'll get you some ringside seats, Drew.
Chicano, that statement made absolutely no sense, bro. I won't watch women's boxing until they get paid equally. You're supposed to watch them to help them get paid equally, bro. I just don't understand that statement. That was like backwards as hell.
Oh man, we're having fun. All right, guys. By the way, so Xavier Martinez, tough luck for him. I know that Cortez is a local guy from Las Vegas, and he put on a very good fight. He had a lot of things afterwards to say about where he sees his career trajectory and the type of people he'd like to fight. For Xavier Martinez now, who left PBC, he's going backwards. This is a guy that they had high expectations for. But on a good note for me, from someone from the Bay Area, Charlie Sheehy is a prospect that signed for Top Rank out of Brisbane, California, which is right next to San Francisco, where I just said I grew up my whole life. And Charlie Sheehy came up with a fantastic stoppage. That fight happened, I think, at 4:30. Shit, I was still working on Friday at 4:30. But I think Charlie Sheehy with this KO, Drew, I think they're going to have to start showcasing him a little bit later in the fight, man, because he's getting good.
Yeah, well, I don't miss my shot. I called my shot. They missed their shot with me. Calm down. But like, and plus, I don't think I'm welcome at that watch party, man. A lot of L-sexuals there. Oh!
Speaking of watch parties, man, shout out to the Boxing Voice, because I like I said, I actually watched the fight Saturday at home, and then we all went to the party. So I did get to watch the fight, but I really wanted to go to the Boxing Voice, which featured, I think Alicia Baumgartner was just one of the many people in the house, Drew, and I saw, people circulating the pictures. It looked like a really good time, man. It looked like a really good watch party. So shout out to the Boxing Voice. And I'll definitely be trying to, now that I live here, to attend one of those things so I can mingle with the stars. You know what I'm saying?
If only we can dream.
Ryan says Sheehy definitely needs to be higher on that card. That's the thing with a lot of Top Rank. They develop their prospects so well, but I always feel like, you're going to see some of the future stars. You're going to see them very early until they feel pretty secure that it's not going to turn into a situation like Edgar Berlanga, where Edgar Berlanga's it was just what they did with him was a mess. You know what I'm saying? So Charlie Sheehy is still a fighter in development. Keyshawn Davis has been getting a lot of attention this week, going back and forth. He went at it with Frank Martin. That's a prospect. He is a silver medalist, but now that he's up to somewhere in excess of 10 fights, he will be getting a lot of media attention. And there was a lot of media attention, Drew. So before we get to the Spence fight, I already talked about Cardi B losing her fucking marbles in Las Vegas this weekend. The heat definitely got to a lot of people, Drew. And leading up to this event was no stranger to drama. But Caleb Plant assaulting Charlo backstage with that left hook or whatever punch that was. Some say it was a slap, man. It looked like a straight left hook to me. What was up with that, man? Was he just trying to get attention? And what'd you think of Charlo's late response? Because I saw the video where when the cops finally got involved, it was too late for retribution.
I look at it like this, man. You did something to him, man. He paid you back for it, man. You didn't want to fight him, so he got his because you said something to him, probably. But I look at it like this, man. People need to stop fucking with Caleb, thinking that he's soft, man. Gator don't take no shit. You feel me? Like little Jimmy's out there gonna, telling you, man. Like Caleb Plant, man, he that Gator. He don't take no shit and everything, man. Like he bitch slapped the shit out of Charlo. Said, "You're my bitch now," and Charlo just stood there and took it because of his mental. But you know what, man? Charlo Charlo has a lot of mental issues, man. He's going through a lot, man. I don't think he should be at least champion at recess, but end of the day, man, it's just embarrassing the shit that he goes through and everything.
All right. Is that an open hand slap? Guys,
I thought it was a punch, but
it looked like a punch at first, but it looks like an open hand slap. And that's the same slap that he was ineffective completely ineffective on Canelo Alvarez. I do believe y'all remember that he tried that slap on Canelo Alvarez and paid for it dearly, man. Charlo needs to get back in the ring, bro. That's some ring rust right there.
That's
some ring rust. You know, if he was fight ready shape, he would have seen that thing coming like Canelo saw it when Caleb tried to slap Canelo, and that didn't work out so well on stage for him.
But you know what, man? I said Caleb Plant would beat Jamal Charlo, man. I still believe in that. I think Caleb Plant stops Jamal Charlo. I just
want to see him in the ring again, Drew. Then later on, I saw some drama, just him getting to his seat, pushing an usher. There's a lot of bad behavior this weekend in Sin City, man.
Issues, man.
Oh, lots of bad behavior this weekend in a super fight. Of course, man, he got to a lot of people. By the way, guys, again, if you want to call in and chime in on this weekend's activity, 702-710-3627.
You know what, man?
Yes.
The only thing he was missing is the baby paddle.
The baby powder. So going back to that top rank card, will Castavalli from Costa Rica get that fight against Sinisa Estrada? I'm interested. You know, Sinisa was with Oscar De La Hoya. Now all he has is Castavalli. So it's like trying to set up a fight between Canelo and, you know, somebody on Oscar's roster.
I don't know, but I just got one thing to say. We got like 15 fucking people in here, and there's only 2 fucking likes. What the fuck is wrong?
Let's go. Let's hit them likes, guys. Remember, man, I'm a small channel. I'm one of the smaller channels. There's some great podcasters here. There's some great YouTubers in here. Help Drew and I out. We're just a few hundred watch hours from being monetized. Not that I need the money or Drew and I need the money, but it would be nice to level up at all, you know, like whatever.
I just want to know.
Hit that like.
It's 15 motherfuckers in here, and only 2 of you motherfuckers like it.
I think they're just waiting for you to get salty, Drew. We're waiting for Drew's epic rant any moment, guys.
But you know what, man? It shouldn't have to be about the epic rant. It could be about the keeping it 100, because I don't give a fuck what I say if it hurts anybody's fucking feelings. I'm just gonna fucking say it.
If you don't hit that like, Drew's gonna toss his microphone at you right there, Cardi B style.
I ain't gonna toss this microphone. It costs $100 and some bucks.
All right, man. Let's get on to this main card, because you know what? At first, I thought the card was going to be great. I completely fumbled my pick. Well, one pick, my friend, I mentioned my boy Mike was in town, and he did a parlay, and I said Giovanni Cabrera is going to upset Pitbull Cruz. He saw that fight with Pitbull Cruz and Gervonta, and he said, "You're tripping." I said, "No, he's going to upset him. Please put that down on the parlay." And I told him Nonito Donaire, absolutely Nonito Donaire is going to be a 40-year-old champion. Whoa, did I blumper that one, guys. So I want to, being a Bay Area guy, I want to express my thoughts on Nonito Donaire's epic career. Just like a few weeks ago, I went to the Cosmopolitan for that PBC fight, which I thought was going to feature Nonito Donaire 2 weekends ago. I think he was ready to fight then. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think it had anything to do with his poor performance, Drew. His reflexes are gone, man. That guy threw so many punches, and Nonito cannot pull the trigger anymore.
Yeah, man. That's the only thing we can say about Nonito, man. He couldn't pull the trigger.
He just can't pull the trigger, and that's nothing to be ashamed about. At 40 years old, coming off a big knockout like the one that he had recently against the Inoue, the monster, in his rematch, that's taken a lot of toll on his body, man. Let's be honest. That first fight he had with the monster Inoue, who we just featured, is now in most people's pound for pound number 1 or number 2, depending on what we're going to debate in just a moment. That took a lot out of Nonito at 38 years old to fight the monster, man. That was a brutal, epic fight. It was one of the fight of the year contenders, the first one, in my opinion. The second one was more of an ass whooping, and, you know, that's where it is now. You know, it's not that we don't love him, don't think he can pick up another win, but, you know, he's clearly not at the level anymore to be a world champion at 118. They gave him someone who was a solid fighter, but probably we didn't think had it in him to be a world title holder like who he fought this Saturday.
But I look at it like this. The whole undercard sucked. It was fucking terrible.
It
did. $85 card, you put a horrible undercard on there. Like, I just don't get it. Like, You brought a Cuban middle. What is it? What the fuck was he?
The Cuban had a decent performance, but I thought it was odd to put someone. I thought it was odd to put somebody with. I just mentioned Charlie Sheehy, an outstanding amateur, U.S. amateur from the Bay Area. You didn't see him on the televised portion of the ESPN card. And if you did, it was like at 4:30, maybe. It was definitely not on regular ESPN, but you see the Cuban person that they're, and it was just kind of strange that they put him there as number 4. I know that there was a heavyweight fight. I know that a lot of stuff happened on this card, but to start off with that one and then roll right into the Nonito Donaire fight, which was a complete disappointment.
And fucking the Isaac, I'm sorry, man. I don't care what anybody says. Isaac Cruz is fucking terrible. Like, seriously.
But why now? Why are we saying that now when he had a fantastic performance against Gervonta Tank Davis and we thought that would age well, and all of a sudden now we realize he's basic. And some people today, I listened to many podcasts, and some people say he doesn't even merit to crack the top 10 at lightweight. Now he's no longer a top 10 lightweight guy.
Here's the thing. Here's how I look at it, man. Like, I scored to fight a draw with Tank and Isaac. I just don't. I think he's too undersized, and the style that he does, the way his style does not go well at 135. Seriously, it doesn't, because he's a guy that comes.
He's 5'5".
He has really bad footwork. He's a guy that comes forward and punches you. He has bad footwork and everything. He does not move his head. This guy is a little guy. It's too easy to beat. I don't know what the fuck game plan Freddie Roach had with Giovanni Cabrera and everything. He had his fucking hands down the whole fucking fight.
Giovanni Cabrera talked a lot of good shit leading up to this fight this week about how technically sound he was and how Pitbull Cruz was very one-dimensional. He was going to show off his skills. I wanted to see that. And while I don't think necessarily Pitbull Cruz edged this one, some of us in the chat have pointed out, this is politics, man. They're leaving that open for a rematch with Tank, and that's why he didn't get the nod. I mean, Giovanni Cabrera just fought on. It's not like he's a PBC fighter. He actually just fought on Top Rank when he beat Gabe Flores Jr., the in-house guy, and you see how that goes when you beat an in-house guy. I don't think they were going to allow him to beat Pitbull Cruz no matter what the performance was. So,
but I look at it like this. I gave Pitbull that fight. I had it 115 to 112. I'm sorry, you just can't go and jab and hold and let yourself get hit with your hands down and expect to win a fight. Like, you should have been able to use your reach and box him and get an easy fucking decision off of him, because he's fucking easy. Isaac Cruz is fucking easy to beat. And I think people need to fucking realize that this guy's not fucking good. And for him to get a fucking rematch, all he was banking on is a rematch with fucking Tank. He ducked Ryan Garcia. He fucking ducked Secure Stevenson and everything. What's the, seriously, he ain't nothing, because after that Tank fight, he fought a fucking washed up ass 40-year-old Yuriokis Gamboa. Mm-hmm. Then he went to this shit. It was a terrible fucking show. It was a terrible undercard. I'm like this. I can't wait for it to be over. I just couldn't wait for it to be over. I felt like going to sleep.
I see our boy Little Penny all the way from the land down under. And he's a big fan of YouTubers from Las Vegas. So, Little Penny, this one's for you because you didn't see it, but you must identify these female YouTubers. And see if next week, if you could at least get one of these ladies from YouTube on the Shoe Shine next Monday. Shout out to Little Petty. Okay, Drew, going back to that lousy card, it was a disappointment for me. All the fights leading into that one were a disappointment. But you know who is interested in Pitbull Cruz all of a sudden again is Ryan Garcia. Please bring on Cruz. Well, how convenient. He's 5'5", and now he's starting to see that he kind of sucks as a lightweight, and you want to bring him up all the way to 140 pounds. A 5'5", 140-pounder.
Ryan Garcia wants to fight the little guys again.
Well, Ryan's not going to get a chance. Somebody had put it in our chat. Harris Davies is going to take over 140. Davies has signed a contract, I believe, with Golden Boy this past week, and he's absolutely going to get a shot, mandatory shot against,
Wally.
against Raleigh Romero of Las Vegas. So that's going to leave Mr. Ryan Garcia, a new 140-pound fighter, looking for an opponent. And, of course, he would like to drag someone up from lightweight. Meanwhile, 140-pound news, before we get to that main event, 140-pound news. I don't know how you feel about this one, Drew, but I'm not happy about it. Devin Haney is a Bay Area guy, born in San Francisco, lived and raised in Oakland, California. As much as I want to be proud of him, as much as I want to say he beat Lomachenko, I can't even say that. And now, as still undisputed lightweight champion of the world, lightweight champion of the world, he wants to move up to 140, and it's happened. This happened this week, but they signed a deal supposedly on DAZN. He's back with Eddie Hearn, and he's going to fight for the 140-pound champion against Mr. New Orleans, the 140-pound Regis Prograis, I think was the best champion. But he is asking the WBC, not all the belts he has, but he's asking the WBC Suleiman, who happened to be at the Boxing Boys party, by the way, Drew. If I had gone to that party, I could have talked to Suleiman myself. He has asked Suleiman to let me keep the WBC belt and let me see how it goes against Regis Prograis. The monster Inoue, who we just saw this week annihilate Philadelphia's Fulton, Drew's guy, did not ask to hold on to any belts. So why the fuck is Devin Haney got to ask, can I hold on to some of the belts? You did it for Ray Vargas, right? Ray Vargas. Oh. You did it for Ray Vargas, who moved up to 130 and got embarrassed. And all of a sudden you go, oh, well, you know what? I'm still the featherweight champion of the world. So that's what Devin Haney is up to. How do you feel about that? How does the chat feel about that?
Man? You know what? You're not fighting Shakur Stevenson, man. Go up to 140, man. You already ducked him as it is. Go ahead. You ducked the rematch with Loma. You ducked in Shakur Stevenson. Just go up to 140, man. Like, tell you the truth, this just showing you have you don't have confidence in yourself. So
I just find it kind of strange. I feel like, okay, you're not going to go back to lightweight if you lose. Let's be real. You've been killing yourself to make lightweight, and you don't look good on the scale. You're probably going to do better as you're aging to move up and let your body take over to what the natural weight it wants to fight at. So why bother? Why bother? Just give up all the 4 belts and let the young kids, the Shakur Stevensons take over now. I mean, he had a hotly contested fight with Lomachenko. If he comes back down, I want to see a rematch. If he loses to Prograis, naturally everyone's going to say defend the title against Lomachenko again. It's got to be a much better fight than Kambosos. Those two fights sucked.
Yeah, but you got to look at it like this. Like, I really think we're heading towards Kambosos versus Loma.
Oh, that's an awful fight.
No, it's an awful fight for Kambosos. Lomachenko is going to destroy Kambosos, and he's going to stop him, and he's going to make it look easy.
Yeah, I can't see that fight even being competitive, guys. Well, anyways, right. Haney versus Prograis is a reality. It says right here, October 28th in Las Vegas, which is exactly 1 month after Canelo Alvarez's date, because Canelo's going to fight Charlo at the end of September. So within a span of 30 days, me being a local, I'm very excited. I love fall in Las Vegas. I love this October 28th is typically a night where Las Vegas goes crazy for Halloween. So I could see some fantastic after parties for this one. Just come to Vegas, man. This is going to be one of those fights where it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg like this fight. If you came to Vegas this weekend, I know you guys spent pretty money on them tickets, but for this one, as soon as tickets get announced, I would say this is definitely worth making a little Vegas trip. Plus, it's Halloween. Get your costumes, get your freak flag out, and head to Vegas then. End of September, October, like I said, Drew, those 30 days, I think that's going to be exciting. I'm going to definitely try to do my best to go to both of those.
Well, man, that's my birthday month.
That's right. Shout out to all the Libras. Shout out to all the Leos currently. This month is the month of Leos. Lil Penny says, Shushan Boxing, is that at the MGM Grand or Mandalay Bay? I don't know the location of the Haney fight, but Haney typically fights at MGM Grand. It does hold MGM Grand will hold about 13,000, and I think that's a great venue for that fight. Not as fond of Mandalay Bay as a venue. Anyways, Lil Penny also says, what is your prediction on the Bud versus Spence pay-per-views? Mine is 800 to 900,000 pay-per-views. That is a damn good question, Little Penny. I don't think it did as well as people anticipated. I think you're probably in that probably in that range. 750 is my prediction, Drew. I don't think it cracked 1 million.
I said 800, but I look at it like this. I have a feeling this still only did 500K. I have a feeling this did 500K.
Damn, that's kind of sorry, man. That is sorry. And I'm going to say it's sorry because this was technically the best welterweight showdown we've seen in over 40 years. And
Beeb's
that's going to be kind of sad.
So hard.
Yeah, that's going to be kind of sad because technically, guys, I'm going to make my argument now. And a lot of people are, debating this on social media. And we just had the era of TBE, Floyd Mayweather, who pronounced himself the best ever. And now we have a guy who's broken a boxing world record, being the first boxer to ever win undisputed crowns in 2 separate weight divisions, Drew. And to be honest, if it wasn't for little Charlo signing on to fight Canelo at the end of September, I don't see why not that Terrence couldn't immediately have gone into and been the mandatory, almost strong case for a mandatory to fight the undisputed champion, 2 undisputed champions fighting, in a much closer, let's be real, guys. We all know how the Charlo fight is going to be. We can speculate he's going to do well against Canelo, but it's a massive jump in weight, man. It's 2 weight classes. It's never worked out well for anybody going up 2 weight classes.
You know what, man? It has.
For who?
It has once.
Well, Canelo beat Kovalev once.
Bernard Hopkins.
All right.
When he moved up from 160 to 175 to face Antonio Toro. And guys, again, Bernard did not cherry pick that fight. Antonio Toro tried to cherry pick it and it went wrong. So the person that tried to point that out to me one time, get your fucking facts straight. But I just don't see this. I really see this as one-sided too. Like I could see this fight as a one-sided fight. I don't think the power's coming up with Charlo to 160.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stick by that. And I think the same people that are trying to hype this matchup are the same ones that say Jamil Charlo ducked Tim Tszyu. Make your fucking mind up. Do you like the fight? Or you're gonna keep saying he ducked Tim Tszyu because he took a more dangerous fight than Tim Tszyu.
So little Penny says Pacquiao went up from 135 to 147 to fight Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya had melted down from middleweight to go to 147, and that weight cut was so dramatic for him that he was a shell of himself. He literally Pacquiao had to spare him mercy. Who it didn't work out for was Juan Manuel Marquez, who went up from 135 and looked like a joke in the ring with Floyd Mayweather.
I really look at it like this. I just don't see the power coming up with him. And then the worst thing that I was talking about this with Chicano Arroyo. The worst thing that can possibly happen, he loses his fight, then he decides to go back to 154 to fight Terrence Crawford. And Terrence Crawford puts him out of his misery. Because that's a mistake. Why would you go all the way back down to 154 just to lose again?
I am Dwayne. This time says jumping up weight 2 divisions worked out for some Hall of Fame fighters, but that's definitely not the norm. I agree that that's definitely not the norm, but I don't, who knows? We'll discuss that when we get there.
Yeah.
Drew, I actually have an emergency right now, and I got to cut the show short, or I got to let you do it. You want to take over? You want to take over?
Oh, fuck it.
All right, Drew's going to take over, guys. He won't be able to, but he'll be able to read the chat. And I just have to take care of an emergency real quick. So Drew will keep the show rolling here. Give Drew some love.
All right. So I'm gonna look at it like this. We all look at the card and everything. The card was horrible, except for the fight. Everybody was looking forward to this Errol Spence fight and everything. So let's get to it. Errol Spence, everybody thought this was a 50-50 fight. Now, the thing about it is I do not know how to drop a link on Skype. My bad, guys. I don't know how to do the call-in shit. I'm the only one guy I talk right now, so enjoy my sexy voice. I look at it like this. This was considered to be a 50-50 fight. But if you guys are keeping up with me on the Shoe Shine and me saying on different shows and calling into them, I saw this fight one-sided in favor of Terrence Crawford. I said this was going to be a one-sided fight and everything. And I looked at it and I said, I don't see this being competitive. Little penny, please. I got this. So if we look at it, the reason why I said this was going to be one-sided is because I watched all Errol Spence's fight, all Terrence Crawford's fights. Errol Spence is a guy that's oversized for the weight for the division for 147. Like, he's a big 147 pounder. Errol Spence, he has the strength, the ability to be able to bully these guys. He's legit welterweights and everything. And people are looking at it, that, hey, he should have moved up to 154 a while ago. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that shit and everything. But I look at it like this. Errol Spence has a basic style that he has to work off the jab. Everything that he does, he has to do the jab first because the jab is his setup piece. It's a basic style. He's not the type of fighter that will go make a hook and go to a straight hand, also off a straight hand, hard straight right hand to a left punch and everything. Like, I really look at it as if when I book this fight, when I'm watching the fight, I watched this fight. The first round, here's the thing. On my scorecard, I had Crawford winning every round. I had him winning round one. You can debate Errol Spence won round one because it's more like a filling out round. But the reason why I gave Crawford that round is because the last seconds of the fight, nobody got a legitimate punch landed. Crawford was able to get a couple of combinations and counters in on Spence's. That's why I gave the first round to Terrence Crawford. He nailed the more beautiful punches. That's why I gave him the first round. Now, after that, it was like, Errol Spence was winning round two. He was until he got knocked down. It looked like round two was going to be maybe a clear Errol Spence round until he got knocked down. He got caught. He got knocked down. It was a flash knockdown. But it was a good knockdown. It was a good punch and everything. So after that, I'm watching it and everything. Terrence Crawford, if you guys watched it closely, man, he did the Philly shell at his best. That's what you saw the Philly shell at his best, man, because every time Errol would try to punch him, Terrence would try to roll to the punches, not take the brunt of it. And that's defense. And at the same time, you're tiring the bigger man out. He's resorting energy, and he's not hitting you fully. After that, it looked like that Spence was able to try to get a constant attack going, getting punches on. When he nailed that right hand, we all thought, okay, it's gonna, that was a good punch. But Terrence Crawford ate that. It looked like that he was eating everything Spence was throwing to him and everything. And then, it was just, it's like counter after counter. Like I said earlier, if, Errol has to get inside to be able to have success against Crawford. But I tell people, he tried to go inside, he was going to get uppercut. He was going to get countered. He got countered. Every time he tried to get inside, he got countered. Every time he tried to throw punches, he leaned into it and got countered. It was a same pattern for that fight. He tried to throw a punch, Crawford just leaned over, threw it over to it, so he wouldn't take the brunt of it. Like, he got knocked down 2 more times in the same round, man. Like, it was pure dominance. And I called it right. I had a TKO stop it. I predicted TKO stop it. I predicted this was a one-sided fight in favor of Crawford. Terrence Crawford completely showed why he is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter in the world now. Terrence Crawford showed why he's one of the best fighters of his era. People question his resume all the fucking time. All the fucking time. And then he beats the top guy at welterweight. A guy that had a great resume, beat top 5 fighters in welterweight, except for Crawford. Crawford dominates him, makes it one-sided. So, I look at it like this. He did not look good, Errol Spence. And you see, like in the middle, I think it was round 4, round 5, the doctor came in and just checked on him before they started the fight and everything. And they checked him and everything. And I'm looking, and everybody, I guess, wondering, why the fuck are you, looking, checking on him now? And I'm talking to somebody about it. And they were telling, and I was telling them, and then about it. And then they told me that they think he might have a concussion. They were checking him for a concussion and everything because they didn't look. They looked at him. They did not look right, and so they told the referee, "Hey, we're gonna keep an eye on him. If he doesn't look like he's able to defend himself, or he keeps taking punishment, stop the fight and everything." So I kind of figured the fight was gonna get stopped eventually. You don't know what round it was gonna be. Like when it got to the 6th round, I really seen enough. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Like, yeah, dude was punch drunk. I'm looking at it. I'm like, you need to stop the fight. This dude ain't coming back. This dude, he got the punch off. He didn't hook Crawford. This dude's getting hit, and he's getting hit easily now. And it's up like I was really worried this dude was going to get knocked out cold. It was going to take him getting knocked out cold for this fight to stop. And when it got to that point still, and I'm like this, in the 9th round, when it got stopped at, I looked at it like this. If the referee did not step in and stop this fight now, Errol Spence would get knocked out cold in the 10th round. They stopped it and everything. It was a good thing they stopped it. This was one-sided. I think he has a concussion. And I think he got it in the fight. Like, people can argue saying he was weight trained and everything. Crawford, people are saying Crawford looked weight trained. But people are saying, he didn't look too good, or he looked like he was high or something. I don't know. I look at it like this. We can't deny the greatness of Terrence Crawford because it was masterclass, A++ performance by Terrence Crawford. He showed everybody, and the non-believers, you better believe now. I just took this boy, and I took him out, and I made it look easy. Now, what's he do next? People are asking me, what does it look like when it comes to Boots? Like, do you think he'll fight Boots? And I look at it like this. If I was Boots, I will wait until maybe he moves up. Get elevated the WBO the full champion WBO IBF. Go fight Staniotis because they're probably going to make him a full WBA champion. Do that. And then move up to 154 so you can consider, hey, you won a title at a division. And then move up and everything. Because I really think like this. I think I said he beats Errol Spence Boots. But Terrence Crawford, I'm not sure about. I don't think anybody beats Terrence Crawford.
Drew, we got a caller on the line from the 925. The Bay Area is in the house. You're on with the shoe shine.
Yeah.
Man, it's Lukey.
Lukey Boxing. What up, homeboy? Oh, I know you've got a lot to say. Drew, shake your mic a little bit. I'm not sure there was a little bit of crazy noise, but Lukey, what's your hot take on everything that happened and transpired this weekend? We now have the first boxer in the history of the sport to be undisputed in 2 weight classes. That's monumental. Is he going to now get the praise from the public that Terrence Crawford deserves?
Look, man, when do we ever sit around and say, hey, man, we need to appreciate what this person's doing? Let me get on these social media. No, come on, we don't do that. We jump on these apps and talk a bunch of mess. So, I mean, of course not, but I think real recognizes real. That was greatness, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for Terrence.
I am too, guys. I apologize. I don't think it's Drew's mic. I'm getting also because my phone.
Is that me?
Nah,
Is that
it's
me?
it's my
Like, is it
Skype. It's my Skype. I walked away. Something happened with Skype because it's using the phone line is using Skype, and Drew was coming in all distorted too. So it's a hot mess of a show. But and I'd love to get your opinion, Lukey. So, but if you guys could bear with the weird audio, it's coming from our Skype. What is the power move now?
Well,
Is he going to
I'm hanging with
execute?
you.
I'm sorry. Is he going to execute that rematch? I'm talking about Errol Spence. He has that clause. And it could be at 154, and something that sounds like Terrence Crawford is open to that. Boots Ennis is obviously not someone whose name is large enough to get the attention, and I don't think he merits a fight with Terrence Crawford, who's worked so hard throughout his career. I honestly don't feel he deserves a shot. At this point, I think Terrence Crawford is here for legacy fights now, and he can fight whoever the hell he pleases as a free agent. But what about you?
I mean, I'm going to throw a wild one out there for you. And Philly Drew chime in, anybody chime in the chat. I think Terrence Crawford at some point to end his career is going to fight Canelo Alvarez. And it's going to be a fun old guy fight in which it's kind of like, let's just do it for old time's sake. They'll figure out a weight, and I can see them fighting each other. But I think for Crawford, he spent his whole career having people make fun of his record, resume, this, that, and the third. Now it's his time to kind of victory lap on people.
Mm-hmm.
And he can kind of do whatever he wants. 3-division champion, lineal champion, which means the best guy in the division in 3 divisions. 2-division undisputed. First male person to do that in the history of the sport, in the 4-belt era. If he goes to 154, do you see anyone that beats him?
No, I don't, and it's unfortunate that little Charlo is going to be fighting Canelo, because I think that naturally when we have an opportunity to see 2 undisputed champions, like either at lightweight and junior lightweight, or in this case now 147 and 154, that's the fight I really want to see. I don't want to see Charlo move up 2 weight classes and potentially get stopped or hurt badly.
And he's tailor-made for Canelo, if we're being honest. Like, I think Charlo will do better than people think. But what does he like to do? Load up on punches, bully guys, stand in front of you, and that's what Canelo likes being in the ring with. So there's some slippage with Canelo. He's not the guy he was 2 years ago, but he's tailor-made. You know, he's tailor-made, in my opinion. To me, I'm going to give you a hot take, okay? So chat go crazy. And my name is, it's not Lukey. It's one of the hosts of this show. So aim it at the host, right? It's not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tim Tszyu probably beats Errol Spence right now.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think that the punch resistance. So this, I don't know if I listened and I heard Philly Drew, and I'm a big fan of Philly Drew, big fan of you as well. Philly Drew brought up a great point. I haven't heard a lot of people say this, but the way that Spence was responding to punches, you can tell that the wreck affected him, or I could see that. And I think there's neurological damage with Spence. And I don't want to say that in the capacity of throwing a label on somebody, but the way he was reacting to shots reminded me of when Francisco Santana was fighting a fighter named Montes. So everybody in the chat, don't just jump on that one and remember that classic fight from a top-rank undercard from about 7 years ago. I think that was on the Oscar Valdez, Miguel Mariaga card, so I'm sure that was a big card for a lot of people listening. But why I brought that up was Francisco Chia Santana in that fight. He won, but if you go back, I think it was majority decision, split decision. But he reacted very strange to punches, and it was like a cautionary tale of where his career was going. And just seeing the way he responded and the look in his face on punches, I don't think Spence has much left. I hate to say it like that.
I'll have to agree with you on that. Drew, do you agree with that? I mean, Tim Tszyu is a wrecking machine at 154 pounds. Naturally, if Spence moves up to 154, we'd like to see him fight the top young fighters in that division, not the olding age ones. I mean, like, I don't want to see him move up to 154 and fight Danny Garcia.
Here's the point. Here's my point about this. This fight showed a couple things. Actually, yeah, it at least showed you three things. Number one, Errol Spence is a basic fighter that was too big for 147 pounds, and the reason why he had so much success at 147 is because he was able to outpower all these guys that he fought. Because they were legitimate 147 pounders. He wasn't. He should have been moved up maybe 2 years ago to 154. Second, I said he's a basic fighter. He has to work off the jab. He's a guy that has to start everything with a basic jab. He's predictable. You know what's coming after that jab every time. And the thing about it is, he moves up. He got exposed by Terence Crawford. I'm going to say he flat out got exposed. That attack, he wasn't going to be able to use his size and everything. He wasn't even able to get inside, and he was the one being backed up by Terence Crawford all night and everything. But now people are talking about him moving up to 154 and everything, and he's fighting guys more like his size, maybe bigger and everything. I don't see nothing good coming out of this for Errol Spence. I think he gets knocked. I think if he doesn't fight Crawford again, I still think he gets eventually stopped again. I think he needs to retire. I'm sorry. I don't care. I know it's one loss and everything, but a loss, people say a loss does not define you or does not give you a hint that your career should end. Tell you the truth, sometimes it does. Because the way he was beaten and the way he looked and that body language and everything, maybe it might be time to hang him up before he gets seriously hurt. Because if you look at that car accident he had, that scar tissue's fucked up. Imagine if that attack would have been like more consistent with the eye and everything. That eye would be so fucked up, you won't even know if you see red or not. Like I'm just like, he needs to retire for his own good, because I don't see him having success at 154 pounds. I think the blueprint, yes, I said blueprint, guys, is out on how to beat Errol Spence. And tell you the truth, can every fighter execute it? Fuck no. But you look at it like this, he's fighting guys more his size or even bigger than him now if he moves up. It's a really bad future for Errol Spence. And people just got to look at it like this. He was clearly beaten by the better fighter, better man overall. And we all seen what Errol Spence really is. And unfortunately, his power and his size only got him so far. And it did get him 3 titles.
I just put up that
I'd
graphic.
like to add to this, though.
Sure.
Because, like, if you watch Errol in the amateurs, like, he kind of fought the same way the whole way through his whole career. And the Philly Drew, once again, good point. You know, he always makes points that make sense. But I would say that Errol is very fundamental. And in this fight, what was alarming to me was it felt like elite attributes he's normally good at, which is timing, speed, kind of being consistent. Crawford, who's typically a slow starter, got his rhythm in a round. And I don't want the conversation to be like, let's just crap on Errol's legacy, because Crawford is, to me, top 20 fighter of all time type fighter. But I do think there is something to be said that this is one of the first times we saw Terence figure a fighter out in one round. And that makes me almost wonder if Spence is a little different, if some of that cadence, some of that timing, if just something's off, some of the punch resistance, some of the way his body used to work isn't the same.
I looked at it when I'm watching fights, and when I watch Errol Spence's fights, he walks behind a jab. It's the basic thing in boxing, walking behind your jab and starting off a combo or attack with a jab and everything. But he's too basic with it. He's not the type that, hey, I'm going to go with a jab and then go with something surprisingly. It's more like textbook, hey, I'm going to go to the jab and I'm going to nail you with a left hook after that and follow up with it. Instead of...
He also doesn't change speeds. I get what you're saying. Like his jab is coming the same way, same speed. He doesn't throw the up jab. He doesn't go to the body and hit you with the Dre jab. He doesn't give you like the 1-inch jab. There's just one jab kind of repeated.
Yeah, it's like that. Like,
we didn't even see feints.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, it got him so far is because he was too big for the division. His power was able to bully some of these guys and everything. And like, let's look at it. And I'm going to say this, and I've been saying this. Not a lot of people are going to like this opinion. If Kell Brook never moved up to 160 to fight Triple G and moved back down, or he would have stayed at 147 before fighting Errol Spence, I don't think we hear about Errol Spence. I think Kell Brook would have beaten Errol Spence if he never moved up from 160 to 160, then moved back down.
Well, did I hear that today on your kick, Lukey? I'm sorry, but did you talk about that? Because I did hear somebody mention that, how much that played into.
I don't believe that. That's not a Lukey hot take, though. I love a hot take, a good hot take. I was just going to add is there's an interesting comparison is that, like, no one would really say this, but Kell Brook and Errol Spence are kind of the same fighter. They're guys who their elite trait was they kept it very basic, and they were gym guys who their great attribute was, I'm going to be a big man. Because I don't like the idea of weight bully, because it takes a lot of sacrifice and discipline to consistently make weight at a weight. So if Errol Spence is a big fighter who can make the weight, and he's bigger than other guys, that's discipline and dedication. So to me, that is an elite world-class attribute. But it's kind of interesting that Kell Brook and Errol Spence, that was a changing of the guard moment in our sport that we love.
Mm-hmm.
Very similar type of fighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went from one big guy to another big guy, and then who came in? Crawford, who's probably like, I don't know if people want to hear this, but I view him like a modern Sugar Ray Leonard in terms of what he's capable of doing in the ring. And if I'll say this, bro, and you guys could laugh at me, maybe I'm overreacting. I think if he gets a few more world-class wins, we're talking about him being better than Floyd Mayweather.
Well, I had put that graphic up just moments ago, and I wanted to ask Drew, now that we know that, it's official, this is the first male boxer to have become undisputed in two weight classes, welterweight, something that Floyd Mayweather, as fantastic as his career was, he doesn't have that under his belt, right? So now we're starting to compare him to the last generation's self-proclaimed greatest ever. And I'd like to ask you, Lukey, where do you find, what is your opinion? At this point, has Terrence Crawford done enough in his career?
He's close, bro. He's close.
Is it enough to drag him out of retirement? Is that something that would entice? I mean, last week people were talking about, or this week,
oh God,
Inoue versus Tank. Is it plausible to drag Floyd Mayweather out of retirement?
To stay retired. No, we don't need to see Floyd come back and do that, because if you watch Floyd's exhibition fights, Floyd doesn't look like the Floyd that we remember.
Right, and even
we don't need to see that. Against John Gotti Jr., John Gotti III, or whoever John Gotti he's fighting, it's like he looks like an older guy. Like he looks like an uncle that's fighting somebody. It does not look like Floyd Mayweather anymore that I was watching for 20 years, and he was like a role model for me. Watching him from the Olympics, I believe it was in Atlanta, all the way up to his pay-per-view fights, watching the whole friggin' journey. And now it's like he just looks like an uncle who's showing up. He's got world-class attributes. He's fighting some guy. It's like Tyson Fury. He's fighting some MMA guy. I've never seen this guy. I don't know if he's good or not. I can tell you he's going to not win a round in the fight. I can tell you it's going to be stupid. But if you want to buy it and believe it, cool, that's great. On Christmas, maybe Santa Claus will come to your house. If you go to Disneyland, maybe you'll see the real Mickey Mouse. It's that kind of logic to me, right? But to me, Terrence, like, look, how long has it been since the Postol fight? Was that 2017 or 2016? I think that's the last time he didn't get a stoppage, bro. So we're looking at a fighter who's gone like 6 or 7 years and his whole career in welterweight getting nothing but knockouts against basically number one contenders. That alone starts to make an argument that you could make a case without other achievements that every single welterweight title defense in his best years was a stoppage. And then when he fought the best guy in his era, the guy with all the belts, Spence, dog walks him and stops him. Like, I'm not trying to say Floyd doesn't have those performances, but if you want to get specific, you could make a case when Floyd fought Pacquiao, he didn't look like this.
Right. Can I say some, Drew, I want to bring up this question to you. Hold that thought, Drew. But I am Dwayne this time, put this question here a few minutes ago, and I think it's a very good question. And I want to pivot into fighter safety, Lukey, because there was something on my mind earlier this week. I talked about Thompson Boxing, the last card they had. And LUU, you guys may know him, you may not. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel. He's got over 40,000 subscribers, but LUU was in a fight with Eddie Valencia just a couple Fridays ago, and Eddie Valencia is still, I understand, fighting for his life with potential brain damage. And they've set up a GoFundMe for boxer Eddie Valencia. So you can Google that, Eddie Valencia's GoFundMe. But it ties into this question about fighter safety. And I am Dwayne this time says, am I the only one that was questioning Derek James' integrity for not stopping the fight earlier? And I'd like to start with Drew, and then Lukey.
I thought the fight should have been stopped in round 6. And I didn't like really the advice that Derek James was actually giving him. I know that he's trying to give him advice to Ellis strengths and everything to see if he can get him back in the fight. But you seen after that round, he wasn't able to do anything. He was getting abused and everything. He should have called it off, man. I thought it should have been stopped, and I'm surprised the referee didn't stop it after the 6. Doctor came in there, you could tell that it was concerning. I think he has a concussion from the fight, but I look at it, man. It should have been stopped, and the trainer should have looked at it I should have stopped this fight. Because he took a lot of unnecessary punishment in this fight. And thank God it did not take for him to get knocked out cold.
Lukey, as far as fighter safety, do you think they could have pulled him out of the fight earlier?
Look, I'm down with Derek James, and Derek James, I'd like to say, is down with me. I'm not going to throw Derek under the bus because, look, people paid $4,000 to $5,000 for this fight. They paid a lot of money. This was a big-time fight. Derek James, big-time coach. This is a guy that I know that he cares about. These are the moments where if there's going to be damage, there's a lot of money on the line. And I think that from a coaching standpoint, it takes a very, very strong person to be able to pull the plug on these type of fights because there's going to be backlash from the fans that paid a lot of money. There's going to be backlash from the promoters. I think this is a fight where you're going to give your fighter a little bit more of a window because of what's at stake. And I also feel there was a bit of ego clash between Bomac and Derek James. I think that at times they rub each other the wrong way. I think they're spiritual opposites. And yeah, I think it's just one of these things where we could very easily say, yeah, man, I'd stop the fight. And then you have a fight that potentially could have upwards to $100 million worth of revenue, and you might be remembered as the person that prematurely stopped the bout.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he would have done that, but I think that lingers in people's heads is there's a lot of friggin' money on the line here.
Oh, yeah.
Errol's waited his whole life for this moment. I'm going to give him maybe a little extra of a window because I know what's at stake.
I was at the Sean Porter fight versus Terrence Crawford. I think it was not too long ago. The Sean Porter and his father was in his corner, and I felt that his father pulled him out too early because of all the success. Sean Porter had far more success winning a lot of rounds in that fight, and I thought that as father, maybe he had pulled him out too soon. But again, that's up for debate. This was a humongous pay-per-view with so much on the line historically, and that maybe I would have been cautious too to pull the fight early. I don't disagree with Lukey here, but by the way, guys, I found Eddie Valencia's GoFundMe. I myself have not yet donated, but I intend to, and there's been some really kind people. There's an anonymous donor for $2,000, and George Acosta El Yuyu, who he's not a fighter who fights on Top Rank, PBC or anything. He's donated $3,000 of his own earnings in Eddie Valencia's road to recovery. So if you guys have a chance, they've raised $11,000 for his recovery, and we hope and pray that he pulls out of this. So, all right, some more fun stuff while I have Lukey on here and Drew. Errol Spence, we discussed where he goes from here, but we got to talk about pound for pound, because in one weekend we saw two guys become undisputed. Inoue versus, Terrence Crawford now. And Inoue has the potential to be by the end of the year. They talked about, every New Year's Eve, they like to do super mega fights in Japan. And the Filipino fighter who has the other two belts, he wants to fight him. Tapales wants to do it. So we could very likely have Inoue be also the second person historically to have two undisputed crowns at two separate weight divisions. So, but I'll ask you right now, Lukey, where do you have Inoue and Crawford? Who's number one? Who's number two in your book?
I'll give you my full list because I made a tweet. 1, Crawford. 2, Inoue. 3, Usyk. 4, Bivol. 5, Beterbiev. 6, Tyson Fury. 7, Canelo. 8, Juan Francisco Estrada. 9, Jermell Charlo. And at number 10, Shakur Stevenson. Even though it's probably Ioka, I think Stevenson will be number one day. So we'll be predictive with the number 10 guy.
Well, I like that Shakur Stevenson made that list. And now, Drew, I go to you. Both of these guys becoming undisputed champions in the same calendar week, just about. Who's number one and who's number two?
I got Crawford number 1. I got Usyk number 2. And I got Inoue number 3. And the reason why I got Usyk number 2, like, if you guys are going to look at it like this, Inoue's best win is Stephen Fulton and Nonito Donaire. Those best 2 wins. Usyk, if you guys, you got to respect Usyk's resume. Usyk probably has one of the best resumes in boxing. And here's the thing about Usyk. Usyk went to these guys' home country or hometowns and beat them. And he's an undisputed champion. He's a unified heavyweight champion. And he's undefeated. So that's why I have Usyk number 2. I had Usyk number 1 until Crawford became undisputed again.
Wow.
So,
well, actually, I'm more in agreement with Lukey on this one, Drew, because as much as I like Usyk, I think these two guys, Inoue is on the verge of becoming undisputed in 2 weight classes. And Usyk is, Usyk, if he can get this Tyson Fury fight, he's close to becoming undisputed in 2 weight classes as well. So those 3 guys absolutely deserve to be 1, 2, and 3. I got Crawford at number 1, Inoue as number 2, because I think Inoue, it's all but certain he will be undisputed by the end of the year at 122 pounds. And Usyk, I think, makes a fine choice at number 3. I like that a lot. Make sure you guys follow Lukey on Twitter. Lukey, what's shout out your Twitter handle so they can see these lists?
No, it's the cool guy. You got to figure it out yourself. We're being real low profile
at Lukey Boxing. Come on, guys. Make sure you follow him on YouTube too, because he's trying to get to 1,000 subs on his new channel. Make sure you subscribe.
We're trying to get to 1,000, but it's the cool guy club. So we don't do the links. We're just trying to be corny.
Organic.
That's all we're trying to.
We're just boxing nerds, as Lukey put it. Just boxing nerds, all of us, right?
I mean, that's like what it is, right? You got these. We're sitting on here on a Monday night. Most people are talking to their kids or thinking about what they're going to do in life, and we're fantasizing the weekend. Like, we live. What makes boxing so special for the people that love it is we live our life on a Saturday night rotation. Most people, when they think Friday and Saturday, they're thinking like, what bar am I going to go to? What outfit am I going to have where this girl or guy is going to be attracted to us? We live for these Saturday nights where we see these gladiators wear these outlandish outfits and put on the best fights week in and week out. And it is so impactful to all of us, those listening, those hearing us, that we sit around and just talk about our great Saturday. We go, man, that Saturday was something. And that's my type of people, It's the Saturday carries over all the way to Friday. We got a good ShowBox card this week. My bros are fighting on the Jake Paul, Nate Diaz cards. Shout out Kilo Madera and Kevin Newman. I'm friends with both of them, I'd like to believe. And, that's one where it's like, I just want both of them to be safe. I want
Absolutely.
Their talent to shine, and I hope that Jake Paul's, because the longer you get in this game, guys, and I'm not trying to say I'm a veteran or anything, but I know a lot of these fighters, and it's like you used to be like, oh man, we're gonna set trip on this guy. We're gonna, when this guy shows up, I'm team that guy, and I'm gonna be obnoxious. And then you're in this game, and then suddenly you realize everybody that's good, you kind of know everybody. Because to get to the top of this sport, you have to meet all these people. You meet them through sparring, and then they go these different routes. So eventually the same people fight each other, and you want the person that has the talent on that night to get the win. And for me, when I watch Kev and Kilo fight, which I hope everybody watches, and I encourage people to watch, I just want them to leave home to their families safe, and that's where I've progressed in the sport. And that's like, to get back to EJ, I know he has a family. So what was bothering me was I know Terrence is a professional and he separates the humanity from the sport of boxing. And it was hard seeing EJ take some of those shots knowing he has to go back to his family. And that's kind of where I'm at in boxing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love what you said about Saturday nights and boxing nerds. I think that was so well put. But this weekend, Drew, and Lukey, this one is actually I'm actually excited about it. I don't care. This is the first time I may be excited about a Jake Paul fight. I was a little bit excited about when he faced a real fighter in Tommy Fury, who actually is a professional boxer. But this one it has a lot of Bay Area undertones. For one, Jake Paul, Lukey is trained, Twitch trainers. His primary trainers is with Bob Santos, San Jose, California. Very much so, probably one of the best trainers of all of last year. He's got quite the stable.
Wait, is Bob the head coach?
Is he? I thought that's what I was talking with his son, that he was implementing work with him, no?
I think it's, what's his name? I think the head coach
Flores?
now is Theo something or another. Theo, the last name's Theo something or another.
Theo Fane?
And BJ's like, no, it's someone that I've never even heard of.
Oh.
And, yeah.
And BJ Flores. Well, nonetheless, Nate Diaz has a long reputation of working out and sparring with Andre Ward, and maybe you can enlighten us if he's picked up enough boxing skills to, pull off a victory this weekend. At his age, I was told and read that he had been sparring with the Brazilian fighter. And the Brazilian fighter was quoted as saying that, the guy was practically dying doing sparring for 10 rounds with this weight cut.
Wait, who was that?
I think it was Falcao, Falcao, said that he...
No, but who was the fighter that was almost dying?
That Diaz was practically dying sparring just a few weeks ago from this massive weight cut. He's coming in from way over 200 pounds. So is that going to affect Nate Diaz in the ring this weekend?
I mean, at the end of the day, here's the deal. Is anyone like, oh man, Nate Diaz, he's going to outbox Jake Paul? No. If he wins this fight, he's going to out-tough him, right? It's just going to be that he's physically tough, he keeps going, and he wins on toughness. So,
yeah, actually,
Nate always has terrible camps, in my opinion. And I shouldn't say that publicly, but I like you guys. It's like I've never seen him train and been like, man, this is the Terrence Crawford gold standard. I feel like he kind of does what he wants. He's a big guy, but what got him to the dance is he's really friggin' tough. He's down, and he's just going to keep coming, and he pushes a tough pace. Like, I don't think Jake Paul, this is a fight where it's like, oh, man, Jake Paul's going to outbox Nate Diaz. It's going to be, can Jake Paul handle the resilience and toughness of Nate Diaz? That's what, to me, this fight is.
Yeah, our boy George over here of Off the Ropes Boxing and MMA, salute to him, says, I think the longer the fight goes, it benefits Diaz. Drew, Jake Paul's not known for his cardio, and what maybe the fights you have seen. Is he ready for 10 rounds? 10 rounds?
Man, the award of Jake Paul is over with. He lost already. Like, tell you the truth, I don't know why the fuck this is on pay-per-view. Like, seriously. But I don't think neither one of these guys can go 10 rounds. Seriously. I don't think neither one of these guys are going to go 10 rounds. I bet you by round 5 they both gassed. So, but like, I'm not really entertained by it.
But you know, Drew, who else is on the card? I don't know if you're a fan, but Heather Heat Hardy. She's 40-year-old woman's boxer. She's had a great career, and she's going to be part of the undercard. Is that right, Lukey?
I mean, look, bro. We know what time it is, bro. She's past her prime, and Amanda wants these really big fights, and for her to get these big fights, she has to kind of treat her in a certain way. She has to make a dominant performance and make a statement. And I'm a fan of Heather Hardy, but Heather's a little past her prime. And you know what it is. You know how these fights go. When a dominant puncher fights a fighter who probably maybe shouldn't stick around anymore, I think this is a 2-3 round fight, but good for Heather. She's always been a true professional. She's going to sell the fight. But this is going to be basically an infomercial that Amanda Serrano's really good at boxing.
And you mentioned some of your fighters will be on that. Friday night, we've got Showbox. Drew, any more final thoughts on this Jake Paul?
I want to give your listeners a Showbox fight that I really think they need to watch. Can I say that?
Absolutely.
So, 2016 Olympian Paul Kroll. He should have been an Olympian. He didn't qualify. Paul Kroll. Awesome. Great fighter from Philly. He's taken on Guido Scram, who's a guy who just got a win on Showbox that probably nobody watched. Beat a guy named Brown, who's like a UPS driver, really good fighter. They're matching up. Guido Scram kind of reminds me of a Maidana / Brian Castano type fighter. Really, really interesting fringe contender type guy. And Paul Kroll is a guy who could have been an Olympian. And to me, this is like a really interesting fight between a boxer and a banger. And I think this is a really, really good co-main event fight. And if you're interested in watching just like a really even match, I would go out of my way to watch that.
You know, that fight, you mentioned a boxer versus a banger, and that reminds me of a Showbox fight I saw a long time ago that is Ruben Villa versus Elvinato Lopez, who Elvinato Lopez is now the featherweight champion. He's a featherweight champion, and Ruben Villa was a highly touted amateur that has 2 wins over Shakur Stevenson. So those kind of fights, that fight sounds good to me, man. I'll be looking forward to that on Friday night. Saturday night, there's one more fight.
I was going to say, Paul's not on the level of like a Ruben Villa as a technician, but if you go to Philly, Paul gets respect from everybody.
Drew,
so
you got to hit them Philly gyms. We got to get Drew. I got to get Drew a camera so he can start hanging out at the gyms. That's what we need on his spare time.
I could reach out on behalf of you guys, and we could see what gym, because I mean, you got Steve Cunningham out in Philly. You've got Bozy Ennis. I feel like you should just, Bozy puts his info of his gym on the internet, just holler at him and be like, hey man, big fan. I got a camera and a YouTube channel. People don't follow your son. Can I pull up on you? But I mean, there's tons of guys in Philly. Like, I mean, obviously Boots and them are popping right now, but like, I'm sure a Paul Kroll needs to be filmed. A T. Fulberton needs to be filmed. There's tons of guys out there.
I love it. I love it. Drew's over here thinking, yeah, Drew's going to be the cameraman. Drew, speaking of Philadelphia, Danny Garcia makes his return to the ring this weekend. Danny Garcia at 154 pounds versus the Cuban Erislandy Lara. Can you guys, either of you, correct me? What weight class is this at?
Middleweight.
It's at middleweight, at straight up at 160. Danny can come in at 160.
They're fighting for a legitimate title at 160.
WBA.
WBA. So it's a world title. He was elevated to the world champion.
I'll be damned. So he gets another shot. Too late in his career, Lukey, for the Philly fighter.
Yep.
Which fighter? I'm sorry.
Danny Garcia. Too late in his career. Do you think he's getting pull something monumental, jumping from welterweight to middleweight?
I mean, I don't want to ruin your guys' life, but he's just fighting for money. So boxing's a business. He's gonna take fights that pay him a lot. When it's just business. I mean, middleweight sucks. So it's like, it's a terrible division. So Danny has talent, and if he's focused, he can win a belt there. But I mean, Danny's closer to being done than being in the prime of his career.
You know, Drew, before you make your point, I want to say something about the Errol Spence and PBC situation. I think a lot of the reason why so many people believed in Errol Spence was because PBC is phenomenal at selling you that, selling that he was this elite world-class welterweight that was on the level historically of some of the greatest. And they sold that to us because they had the majority of the biggest names in welterweight divisions. They had Keith Thurman on there. They had Danny Garcia. They had a stretch of having the biggest named welterweights. But in truth, they could not get Bud Crawford these fights at Top Rank. And then they had to part ways because it was that bad. But the whole time, Bud Crawford was better than all of the PBC stable. He just was. And I think Errol Spence is in the same boat now as Danny Garcia, that after this fight or whatnot, he's going to be looking to cash out, as Lukey's alluding. This is a cash-out fight. There really isn't much left. Danny Garcia has been fighting a really long time. It's been a long time since we fought Lucas Matisse, these great fights, Amir Khan's. True, it's a long time removed from Danny Garcia being at the top of any boxing
But
food chain.
You know what? Danny has an opportunity to be a three-weight division champion.
That's great. If he can pull it off, more power to him. But how old is Erislandy Lara?
Like 40, but I look at it like this. Yeah, Danny's, hasn't really been up the top for a while, but all his losses, they're actually close fights and everything. You could arguably say one that he won, that he could have got the nod in. So I look at it like Danny could probably Danny's win. I'm picking him to beat Laura. I don't think Laura really has much more in the tank. But the thing about it is, what do you do after that? Like, middleweight is a ghost town. It's a lonely place.
Yeah, the middleweight division is the worst condition it's ever been. Most people have jumped up to 168, or some have even gone down to 154. To now, where you have Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara sitting there with an actual title. That's nuts. It's a matchup of who's got anything left in the gas tank. I don't know. What? It's hard to call.
I think Danny still has a little bit left.
All right.
And everything. But the division is so unknown, with a bunch of unknown fighters that are Eastern European and everything. Mostly all of them, nobody knows who the hell they are. Not even a lot of the hardcores knows who half of these guys are and everything. It's sad what it's become. But really, what does Danny do after that? Because I didn't think he was going to get a belt at 154. It was just too many. It was just too many people in that division, up and coming and present fighters that are still good, that can be champions and everything. Just uphill battle, and depending on who, if Crawford moves up and everything, it's just another name he's got to contend with and everything. So, does Danny stay at 160 to stay? I know this is a catch rate fight, but does Danny campaign full time at 160 if he wins this fight? And tell you the truth, he might want to campaign at middleweight because belts may be easier for him to get. And so it might be, for the business and career-wise, it's good for Danny to win this fight and stay at 160.
Well, you know, in their prime, both of them were very exciting fighters. One, the slick Cuban southpaw, and Danny Garcia, a boxer with a fantastic power punch. But I'm going to favor Erislandy Lara having more in this gas tank. I hate to say it, Drew. I think he's just naturally the larger fighter and better on his feet.
Wait, is this fight happening this weekend?
Yeah, right? Am I tripping? Isn't it this weekend? Let me check.
I don't think it ever got officially announced, bro. I think that it was like said that it was going to happen, but I don't think it ever got announced.
That would make a lot of freaking sense. Let's see. Danny Garcia versus Lara.
Look at it like this. How long have these guys been inactive? I know it's been over a year and a half since both of these two fought and everything. So it's really like, what else is there to do? This is the main issue at PBC. The big fighters are really
Drew,
inactive.
we lost your mic.
Can we now?
We lost. Nando Lama says Danny Garcia's last fight was a year ago. Yesterday, it was tuned to a tune-up at the time. Drew, is your mic working? Lukey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Lukey, you still there?
Yeah, he's here.
Now I hear you, Drew.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you guys. ESPN says August 5th. The WBA, yeah, August 5th is this weekend, isn't it? Yeah, I don't see it on the Showtime schedule.
But I
though.
mean, I haven't seen it on Showtime. They didn't advertise it on the pay-per-view. I mean, I just don't think it's happening, bro. Because why wouldn't you advertise that on the pay-per-view of what's coming up?
I don't know. I really think they got to figure out something because, like, yeah, Triple G vacated all these belts and everything. Like, it's like his belt, his two belts. Well, you count it as three because he was IBO champion too. And like the same situation with the Charlo situation, like, when are they actually going to do their job and make him at least a champion in recess and let two of these guys fight for a real belt and everything? But like, it's a shit show, and you can blame the sanctioning bodies. You can blame the fighters for not wanting to fight each other that are the champions. Like, it's been a shit show for almost 10 years, this division. Like, when was the last important fight at middleweight? Canelo versus Cotto at a catch rate? Like,
Canelo Golovkin.
Yeah,
Golovkin
Golovkin and everything.
Golovkin, Danny Jacobs was like meaningful, but I mean, I think the last really, really good one would be like Sergio Martinez's fights.
But I look at it like this, and I tell people this every day. Not every day, but every time we talk about middleweight boxing, and I tell people we probably would never hear a Triple G if Demetrius Prague didn't get injured before that fight. Because Demetrius Prague would have beaten Triple G.
I can't believe I'm talking about a fight that is unconfirmed. Everywhere online said that it was officially August 5th, but you guys are right. It doesn't look like it's on. Which means all we have to do is watch Jake Paul this weekend. Saturday.
I ain't watching Jake Paul. I might go out this weekend.
You might go out? Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I might go the fuck out. Like, I might go down the show or something. I'm not sure.
All right. Well, if there's any Saturday for you guys that don't want to pay for the Jake Paul fight or don't want to stream it, this is your Saturday to catch up. I might actually do something fun too. Friday night, we got Showbox again. Reminder, Lukey, you said you had a couple of friends. Shout out those boxers that are going to be on the Showbox card. Lukey, you still there? All right, we lost Lukey, but everyone follow our homeboy Lukey, Lukey Boxing on YouTube. Try to get him to 1,000 subs as well. It's been a good show, Drew. It's been a fun show, man. Thank you for taking over midway through the stretch. I had a little doggy incident. I had a great time. Shout out to everybody that joined us. Nando Ruli, Michelle Monroe, everybody in the chat team, Batman Boxing. Carol was here. I am Dwayne this time. I knew. Thank you so much. Off the Ropes Boxing MMA. Appreciate you coming down. Make sure you guys follow him on YouTube as well. Everybody that was out here, man. I'm telling you, I'm adjusting to living in Las Vegas, Drew. It's hot as shit. It's always 100 plus. This weekend it was 110. I'm doing my best, man. I'm doing my best to still be out there and not be a lame and not be a square and get out there and live my life. Feel me?
Yeah.
That being said, guys, I'm going to put out a video. I had some awesome clips of us, my wife and our friends. Fonzie was there and other friends were there on Friday night at the Palms watching the Top Rank card. I got video of that. I got video of Saturday VIP party I went. I'm going to put together something fun to just put on the page. And Drew and I will be back next Monday. We've got a new undisputed world champion. The question is Terrence Crawford better than Floyd Mayweather at this point? I think it's going to look that way. And you know what? You can go back. If you guys watch the roundtable, shout out to Joe Habib and D Styles. I've been saying this for over 3 years that Terrence Bud Crawford was going to be a generational fighter, one of a kind for years. I've been saying on record, you can go back and watch any of those shows, that he would eventually, I laid out a path that he would probably be a champion even at 154. And I think it's just a stone's throw away.
Hold on. I gotta do this. I'm the motherfucker that said this was gonna be one-sided, so I want my fucking acknowledgement.
Drew did say that.
I want my fucking acknowledgement. I want there's 18 fucking people and I stay fucking 2 fucking likes still. Maybe my shit hasn't updated and everything, but I need some fucking acknowledgement.
Give Drew his acknowledgement. Hit that like button. We'll see you guys next Monday night. I appreciate y'all. I'm Dave from the 408, now living in Vegas, Philly Irish. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out, everybody.